you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers. Welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough. As we continue to give God thanks for life, I am Julian Skeet.
And I am Maria Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, and welcome this morning. I am Maria Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning to Tobago. Good morning, Trinidad. Those of you in the Caribbean, and those of you viewing us on the live. Julian, did you see the live shot there from Charlottesville?
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful indeed. As beautiful as this upload that Ria has given us this morning, certainly. But the aerial shot there of Charlottesville. In fact, there I was doing our opening and wondering, wait, that is indeed a beautiful sight. Tobago, folks, especially those of you that haven't been home for a while, I live where you vacation.
That's
all
right.
Certainly a beauty indeed. Our very own paradise. Really and truly beyond ordinary. An aerial shot there of Charlottesville.
Yes, and I always tell folks that Charlottesville is a must visit, but you get to experience Charlottesville on a weekend when you can relax and unwind. If you're going to Charlottesville, yes, you get to relax, yes, you get to enjoy the food, the environment, the community. But it's a must spend, not just a visit for an hour or two, but spend a weekend in Charlottesville. Take your watch off, take your cell phone off, if you can do that, and just relax. I promise you, you will be rejuvenated for the following week. I promise you.
Excellent. That sounds like some good advice for
Yes,
Anton Parks.
yes.
All right, viewers, at this point, we prepare to head on over to news in 90 seconds.
Thank you so much, Julia and Maria. You having this morning your news in 90 seconds for Thursday, the 12th of January, 2022. So, Tobago band leaders accuse the THA of underfunding their efforts to produce the mask for Tobago's edition of the National Carnival. Chairman of the Tobago Carnival Band Leaders Association, Gemma Bedlow, complained that 1.3 million was not enough to assist the 32 bands for the February Carnival activities. If the allocation is not increased, the band leaders threatened to boycott Carnival. Bedlow stated that they are struggling to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic while grappling with increasing costs of materials to create masks. Additionally, criminal charges should be brought against those in high positions of authority and with responsibility who did nothing to save the lives of the 4 divers who perished in the February 2022. According to attorney Prakash Ramadan, it was one of the recommendations he made while presenting his closing statements to the Commission of Inquiry into the incident at the Paria Fuel Trading Company that claimed the life of four divers. Ramada, represented the families of the deceased divers. He stated that too often in Trinidad and Tobago, companies and agencies treat lives like they're just numbers. He argued that it is time for the system to put in place a safeguard for workers and their families when incidents of this nature occurs. And finally, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is expected to address the nation today along with a contingent for the COVID-19 response team. The most recent data showed an increase in the number of COVID-19 positive patients, as well as an increase in deaths. The press conference is scheduled to be hosted at 10:30 a.m. this morning. And thank you, Julian and that is your news in 90 seconds for the 12th of January, 2022.
Thank you very much there indeed, Chanel. And I could not help. I am listening and looking on at Chanel, and I am looking straight into Charlottesville with a beautiful background there this morning. Really interesting coming out in the news once again. The Prime Minister is scheduled to address, and more specifically, to address us with the COVID-19 team. And some have the natural indication, and we saw some memes and so on going across social media as of midnight,
midnight
whether or
tonight.
not, yes, but you know, the difference with March of 2020 is that we had the beauty of the first 2 months of the year, including the Carnival season, before this kind of announcement came. Now, as we are preparing to head on into, once again, Carnival of 2023, it will be interesting to see some of the announcements that would be made today, given what is obviously the world has once again begun to experience, you know, again, yet another strain, and so that we have to pay particular attention to. I would wish and hope that we're not yet at that point for, you know, extreme and once again the implementation of several areas. But I want to continue to call for the continuation and the re-establishment of washing hands outside of establishments on your way. And, you know, something basic that not only helps just in relation to the pandemic challenges we've had, but far and wide, it helps in relation to our general cleanliness.
General health. And Julian, even as you mentioned that, I mean, we're looking at how things are going, and the concern is that there is a real carnival being planned for next month. And as a result of that, persons have already indicated, some persons have already purchased their tickets to come home for Carnival. How is that going to affect things? Will we see implementations put in place to restrict travel? Will we see us returning to mask wearing, not just washing hands, but mask wearing? You know, what are we going to see? There are persons who are already asking the question, are we looking at another lockdown? Now, this plays a major part in how people operate even as we continue along leading up to Carnival. Do people spend? Do we continue to plan? Do we wait, watch and see? So we're excited, and yet we anticipate what the Prime Minister has to say.
Certainly, I've never been a fan of the mask, as I cringe.
No, neither am I. But we understand the necessity.
To mask wearing, and you know, because for me it has always been a real struggle and challenge in terms of being able to breathe consistently for an extended period, and then I can only use the surgical ones. So I know the challenge out there. It's very real for some, but we wait patiently to hear the updates coming out of the Prime Minister's official announcements that's carded for today. All right, Ria, today we also have the start of the Youth Summit that's taking place here in Tobago, the Caribbean Youth Summit, the 7th Caribbean Youth Summit, and we really want to wish our very best out there to our young persons. We understand we have persons from around the region gathered here in Tobago, St. Lucia, Barbados, Antigua, and a number of the islands. And of course, as we would have had the chair on, working in conjunction with the Tobago House of Assembly, the Division of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport, and several other divisions within the Tobago House of Assembly, inclusive of tourism and so on, to ensure a successful hosting of this youth conference here in Tobago. So we certainly want to wish the very best, and we look forward to the highlights. Maria, we're ready to head on into our birthday celebrations for today.
Let's jump right into our birthday celebrations.
All right.
And this
we're
morning
heading on into our birthday celebrations. Yes, this lovely lady hails from Charlottesville. If you don't know Rhian Moore, all right, out of the Charlottesville Police Youth Club, continuing to do her very best. Today, we're taking the time out to wish you a happy birthday, Rhian Moore. And we also have on screen this morning Trevira James celebrating her birthday. Trevira, again, one of our scholarship winners, really continuing, I should say, to make us proud. And we want to continue to wish Trevira the very best and a happy birthday. And on screen, we have some images of Rhian Moore.
Yes, some looks, some of the different images and the different looks and times of Rhian Moore.
Certainly a clear indication regarding her continued involvement and success in the youth development movement, really making a difference here in Tobago, and we want to continue to wish you the very best, Rhian Moore. All right, as you continue to do your thing. Today's your day to take a little time out. Hopefully the service, TTPS, will permit her some time out for the birthday celebration this morning. All right, so we want to say continue to wish you the very best. Those of you connecting with us far and wide, we've got an interesting rundown for you today. Ria, who do we have on the lineup this morning?
I'm glad that you asked. Now, Julian, during the News in 90 Seconds, there, Chanel mentioned the issue here of Gemma Bedlow and band leaders within Tobago with some concerns with regards the allocation for mass bands. And as a result of that, we've got Gemma Bedlow, who should be on the program with us. She's the chairman of the Tobago Band Leaders Association. And this morning, we're going to talk about National Carnival 2023 in Tobago, particularly focusing around the issue of the allocation to mass.
All right, and who else do we have on this morning, Ria?
Well, Candice is going to be joining us, and I know folks are really pretty excited to see what Candice has in store. So she's going to be chatting with some gymnastics and some gymnasts who with above average mobility, I guess. So she's going to be chatting with NWBC Hall, who is the owner and founder of Above Average Fitness.
All right. And this morning we wrap on info regarding the 7th Caribbean Youth Leaders Summit, conversations with Brittany McDonald, the Caribbean Regional Youth Council Communications and Information Board member. And we'll also be speaking with Gerard Salfrey, Caribbean Regional Youth Council Board member, Training and Development. So we look forward to those upcoming discussions this morning. Ria?
Right, and we're going to touch base very quickly there with Candice to see what she's up to. Just give us a little sneak peek of, we'll be hearing more from her a little bit later on in the program.
Well, Ria and Julian, you've heard about Gabby Douglas, you've heard about Simone Biles, but guess what? We in Tobago have that talent as well. And we are here to show you a bit of what's budding within some of our young girls. So you're going to find out a bit more a little later in the program on the Tobago Updates morning show.
Right. And I know I can't help but noticing Candice's top. And sorry I didn't get a chance to give her some chats there. You know, it says keep calm and fight in terms of the efforts with cancer. But I feel like if she's going to be doing any of those moves, she's certainly, we got to see what's coming up. I always felt like I could do those gymnastic moves when I see them.
Yeah, you do. I see myself moving like that in my head.
Indeed.
And then I open my eyes and reality hits and I just continue moving on smartly.
I just keep moving in my head, and I commend those who are, you know, indeed be able to do that in an amazing way to continue to represent. And I say, yes, Julian, that's going to be you one day. And I'm still saying that some years later. All right? Ria, exciting morning up ahead. Exciting morning up ahead.
Most definitely. We see some folks on the live here. We say good morning to June, James, Abraham, Auntie Dora Lyons. Happy to know that you made it back safely and that you are reconnecting with us here on the Tobago Updates morning show. Whenever Auntie Dora is abroad, she connects more with us on the show than when she is right here in Tobago. But I'm going to leave it there, Auntie Dora. I'll leave it right there. I
suppose she has a busy schedule while she's here. So good morning to you, Auntie Dora. Listra Cowie Scotland, Elsa Cruikshank, Pearl Murray Beard. Morning to each and every one of you. This morning joining us on the live. I see also connecting with us Kuki Melville, Liesel James. We want to say morning and continued shout outs to each and every one of you joining us. Those of you connecting via TV, those via radio, and of course those online with us here this morning. Let me also pause for cause to recognize Classic Cuts by Akilan. My barber continuing to ensure that things are in place from time to time.
That's
all right? As we get here on air each and every day, we want to thank for the continued support. Classic Cuts by Akilan, located in Susuland. Remember to connect with him on social media. It's on all the socials. Make your appointment today. All right. Ria, so we're heading on over to our upcoming interview this morning. But just before we head there, viewers, we want to thank each and every one of you and to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
We party till we drop down there with a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago.
Tobago Glass Supply
Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your life can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you. Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, viewers. It's 7:19 a.m. Beautiful sights there of Charlottesville. And this morning, we welcome you back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, 7:19 a.m. And as we head on into this interview this morning regarding National Carnival of 2023 in Tobago, and we'll be chatting with Gemma Bedlow, chairman. We head over to a quick clip before we go into that interview.
I am Ms. Gemma Bedlow Dennis, Interim Chairman of the Tobago Band Leaders Association. We are here discussing 2023 Tobago Carnival, and the band leaders along with myself feel thief, unjust, disrespected on the allocation given to mass. I know I will get enemies, but being on the board of the festival, I am representing mass, and I have to stand up for my band leaders. That's right. I am not here discussing no board business. I am here discussing mass. And we are tired of the disrespect. The allocation of 1.3, we the band leaders is saying no to it. We don't want it. In the area of 32 band leaders that bring in Carnival for 2023, I submitted a budget of 3.5. That's still cheap. And I know it's still small. Our allocation for the October Carnival is 17.5. Could someone tell me what the bands and them make? Nothing. Nothing. Some bands take loans from Island Finance, Republic Bank and the credit union, and they're still paying it back. Some band bust. And this year, bands must make back something. I know everything was shut down. And I am hearing crazy people talking nonsense about we have mass already. And no, this is the National Carnival. And unless it go back to Parliament for a review, they cannot stop it.
All right, we just heard there Gemma Bedlow, and she's now joining us live this morning, chairman of the Tobago Band Leaders Association. Good morning and welcome to you, Ms. Bedlow.
Good morning.
Pleasant morning and
All
pleasant good morning also to Miss Ria.
Good morning to you, my dear. It's good to see you.
All right, so as we get the
I am
conversation
a little
started this morning, our information is one point.
The
Our
internet has
information.
dropped now and again.
Okay.
I hope you don't drop when I'm speaking.
All right. Our information, based on what you would have just conveyed there by way of the clip and the information coming out, is that 1.3 would have been allotted to the Band Leaders Association. Tell us, as a member of the Festivals Commission, would you have been a part of the budget submission that took place to the relevant heads prior to approval?
Yes, I was. Very three interest groups, I think. I could only speak on mass. We submitted a budget. We had meetings with the secretary, and during that conversation at the meeting, it was said that allocations will be short and whatever. And during the conversation, I asked one question: do I have to go back and adjust my budget? And I was told no. Say about a week after, I received a call from the CEO, Mr. Janana, went to the meeting, and it was said that they have no money. They only received 9 million to run the festival. I don't know if it's just for Carnival or if it's all the festival, heritage and blue food and bonfire. I don't know if it's all of that. And when I asked the allocation, I was told 1.3.
So as a result of that, bearing in mind that from what I'm gathering, what you're saying is that an overall budget of beyond 9 million would have been submitted for this upcoming National Carnival for the Tobago spend, but it was reduced, or is it the 9 million that was submitted that was approved?
No. The festival was allocated $9 million to run the festivals on the island, including Mass and Pan and Calypso for 2023 Carnival. It's not 9 million for Mass, no. It is 9 million for overall everything.
All right, but let me ask you here, but mass bands were allocated 1.3.
Yes.
Right. Now, you said during that interview with the other band leaders, you indicated that you felt disrespected. Could you explain why? Why is it that you feel disrespected? Is it as a result of this 1.3 million allocation? Why do you feel disrespected?
Miss Ria, for years, my fraternity, I've always been disrespected. We come up with October Carnival. What was the allocation for October Carnival in a short space of time? It is alleged 17.5. Who benefits from the October Carnival? Miss Ria, I hear people talking nonsense, you know. If you know me, or if my band leaders or Tobagonians know me, I don't speak nonsense, I don't talk plain. Trinidadians benefit nothing in the October Carnival. Trinidadians benefit everything in the October Carnival. Look at the big costumes on the streets. Where it come from? It's not Tobagonian own. Fete, partying, music trucks. Who benefit from Tobago Carnival? I am hearing that they get back what 300 million or something. So show me that. Show me where the Tobagonian, Pan Calypso and Mass benefit from Tobago Carnival. And you come in to give me $1.3 million to run a national carnival with all aspects of Tobago Carnival. King, Queen, Juve night mass, junior bands in the age group was 1 to 9, 10 to 17. All of these things, 1.3 cannot cut it. If I have to redo that, we going back in 2000 prices where Banadia is $60,000. Miss Ria, do anybody know how much for a peacock feather? $1,000 by Samaru. A pack of bread.
Ms. Badra, I heard you make mention of that during that initial interview as well. Is it £1 or one single feather, peacock feather?
Single peacock feather by Samaru is $1,000. A pack of bread, $5.50, $6.50. If you are bringing out a queen costume with feathers, the grant and your prices cannot produce that. To bend just the frame of your costume, it might cost you $55,000. I may not. Yes, sir.
Ms. Bedlo, I want to get a sense from you. Is it that only the mass fraternity has been affected by this reduction in what was requested, or is this across the board where other areas of the national carnival here in Tobago will also be affected by reduced allocations for the execution of the 2023 Tobago Carnival?
I cannot speak for Pan and Calypso. I could only speak for mass. If some of them know that what they have or receive is not enough and they don't want to speak up, so be it. But I have an organization to stand up for. 32 band leaders, and I am going to stand up for it. I'm going to fight for it. And as I tell my band leaders, it is out there. Their production is weak. And I have been begging them for years. If all you want prizes, up your game with production. Production means the quality of your mass.
Right.
That is an issue here. And also the numbers in your band. Now, as I told them, and any of them could say, it is unfair that you're taking a grant and coming down the road with 1 and 2 persons in a section. That is not acceptable with me. I have been begging them to merge. You don't have to have no big, elaborate large band and all. Merge, but make your band with numbers. You could have about 3 or 2 sections, but quality mass, impact, visuality, usage of colors, and your team.
But would you say now with the reduced allocation of 1.3, bearing in mind that you had requested 3.5 million towards the mass, if that combined approach is used, or would there be an alternative now? If it remains as 1.3, would the bands now not have to look at perhaps a combined approach where it is, as you just indicated, there's an opportunity to really up the game and to focus on building out that quality, even in a time with less resources?
The authority want quality mass. And quality mass with what is being sold in Samaru comes with money. I always don't do things on my own. I go back to the band leaders to hear their view. Because if it was not for them, I would not have been speaking with you now. It's based on the band leaders, if they will be coming or not. And as I told them, Oriel make nothing for 2022 Carnival. Let's see how we could stream down the budget, which Miss Eugene Job have already started to stream it down. I have to recall them back again because I requested a meeting with the Chief Secretary since August last year. I haven't seen him yet, but I'm still trying. This morning, I'm going to see if I get a meeting with the secretary. But I could tell you, sir, the band leaders and them is not taking that, and we are looking to protest, you know.
Let me ask you something, Ms. Bedlow. And I hear what you're saying, and we hear the passion in your voice. We hear the passion with which you're, expressing these issues. Sorry, excuse me. But the question on the minds of some folks in Tobago is the THA obligated to allocate monies to band leaders during the year? And this is, we're just asking the question here. During the year, what about band leaders having fundraisers to raise the money to put out? Who is to benefit when the THA allocates monies for these for carnival bands? Does the THA make back its money? Do the band leaders pocket all the money? How does it work? And again, the basic question here is the THA obligated to allocate, to give money to monies to band leaders?
Miss Ria, look at the NCC. And the NCC does give band leaders and assistance to bands. This is the National Carnival. And by Parliament, they give assistance to band. Now, the assistance they just give you, that can't bring a band in. It's to help you where you're shortfall in some areas. Some band take their grant after Carnival, some take before. But they are obligated. It is the three interest groups. It's the National Carnival, Trinidad, and Tobago. And I'm hearing people talking nonsense about they don't have to. They have to. They have to assist the bands. When they give the bands and them assistance, it's not going in the band leader's pocket. It's to help with the mass, help with your bands.
But you have just said, Ms. Bedlow, some of our bands on average have not, and we've got to be honest about that, met the standard in relation to the quality that is being looked at. Won't you say that band leaders also have a similar kind of responsibility, not only to improve the quality, but attracting players in an effort to have the kind of turnover for Carnival? Because you just made the comparison with the NCC, and we see where that effort is also put in Trinidad to market their product, have the necessary collaborations, etc., so that the turnover is higher. Would you not say that similarly, the Tobago bands have a greater responsibility in that regards, that they definitely have to pursue while getting assistance from the THA?
Mr. Skeet, I have been talking my ear out. If you are bringing mass, let's look at Trinidad. Mass is a business. You need to focus. If you, I this in the area of what you now speak about there, I have submitted a executive in the area of Begonia and
Okay, I think we're losing her there.
Yes, we have some technical challenges there, but I'm really interested to know the considerations from Ms. Bedlow in terms of the way forward for the band leaders. I was really hoping that we might be able to get her.
We're back.
All right, so we are back there, Ms. Gemma Bedlow. Are you hearing us?
I'm not hearing.
Yes, you're hearing us clearly now, because we are hearing you.
I think she's indicating.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. What we're trying to get a clear idea of, as we look to wrap this morning's interview, what is the plan of action for the Tobago band leaders in terms of the next step, given what is this 1.3 allocation?
Well, the bands has said no carnival. But as I say, I have to go back to the band leaders no later than Tuesday to hear their final view. If no one calls me for a meeting, no one, the band leaders will have to decide their next step of action. But I hope someone call me so we could come to a final decision on this issue.
Someone has just asked a quick question, Ms. Bedlow. Your original request was 3.5 million for band leaders, correct?
Yes, sir.
And they're just over about 30, just under 35 band leaders in Tobago. The question is, if there were to be an average count or an average of that 3.5 million over the 30 plus bands, that's an expectation of just over 100,000 per band on average. Is that a reasonable expectation from the Tobago Band Leaders Association, given that this is an income generating area as well? All right. Are you hearing us now, Ms. Bedlow?
Yes.
Right.
The internet keeps dropping, coming.
All right. So the quick question would have been, based on the allocation requested by the Tobago Band Leaders, 3.5 million, with an average dividing it among the 30 plus bands, that is a request of approximately over 100,000 per band, noting that this is also an income generating avenue for band leaders. Is that a reasonable expectation as far as the Tobago Band Leaders?
Yes. And I hear you just say 100,000 to each band. I'm not hearing too good.
Yes.
Just on average, with the broad division of the 30 plus. You may have a method determining how a band gets allocations, but just given the average, it speaks to roughly about over 100,000 per band.
No. You haven't it mixed up. It's not 100,000 allocated to each band, you know. That things don't work so. The band get a grant.
So is the
grant, out of the allocation, you also come with prizes.
Okay. So in that 3.5 million would also be prizes for the competition.
Yes, in the allocation they proposed or given us, prizes had to come out of that, grants had to come out of that.
Okay.
That is what I mean.
Thank you for the clarification. And what was your last receipt in terms of the National Carnival as the Tobago Band Leaders? And I suppose that would have been before COVID.
What
was the last sum received? That would have been 2020 before we went into COVID and we had the lockdown.
2020, we went back to the 2016 budget allocation, and that was $2.6 million.
Okay.
That was the allocation.
All right, and the thing is, that was the question. A caller, one of the viewers on to the show had asked her about the grant to the band leaders, if that is included in the figure she mentioned, and what about the prize money? So all of that is included in the 1.3.
Yes, all of that is included, prizes and grant. And when Miss Job and I work it out, prizes will have to cut drastically, and the grants also will have to cut drastically.
All right, thank you very much there, Gemma Bedlow, and we look forward to the updates as we hope in good faith a solution would be found between the Band Leaders Association and the relevant authorities in ensuring that we are able to execute the National Carnival, the Tobago leg carded for February here in 2023. Very interesting, Ria, in terms of putting the perspective and the spins on it, and we'll see what comes out from these discussions.
All right, now, you know, the live, a lot of persons on the live, Julian, and I hear you loud and clear. We're certainly awaiting the outcome of all of this. But the live here, on the live, a lot of persons are asking the question, you know, what about the THA? This thing where everyone feels the THA has to give them money must stop. And isn't that the THA would have created or set a bad precedent to precedents to that says that we have to keep giving, that has gotten folks accustomed to the handout. And I don't want to say it like that because it's
the grants, as she has referred to it.
But the grants, but it sometimes comes across as though everyone is just waiting for a handout. And Ms. Bedlow, no, I'm not saying that. It's just the issue of persons sort of helping themselves to achieve their goal and not waiting for the government to give something or the teacher to give something. But this has happened in the past, and of course, if this is the way forward. But then maybe we need to look at tailoring or changing the way we create mass. If we're looking at exorbitant costs to material, we need to change, maybe move away from beads and feathers.
And you see, you have various perspectives coming in, because there are those who also feel that 9 million is ultimately too much to put behind the national Tobago leg at this point, when you are trying to build out your Tobago Carnival in October. So it's left to be seen how we proceed. But we've got coming up next here in our lineup this morning, we're going to be looking at gymnastics with above average. All right. And this segment takes place with the owner and founder of Above Average Fitness. So we look forward to those discussions coming up. We want to thank each and every one of you, those connecting with us via TV, those listening in on the radio as you're heading on in, and those of you online. We want to remind you, this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Socialize! Friday, 27th of January, Shore Park Complex.
Don't worry, lover. Don't worry, friend. Don't worry, partner. Socialize is yeah. Don't worry, lover. Don't worry, friend. Don't worry, partner. Tobago.
Socialize! Friday, 27th of January, Shore Park Complex.
It's so much man good day. Socialize.
Socialize!
Socialize! 27th of January, look for where.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO, and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Yes, viewers, I am Candice Jackson, and I am here to tell you about something exciting happening here in Tobago. Now, as you can see behind me, there's a lot of tumbling, a lot of flipping, a lot of cartwheeling going on. It's exciting times because, you know, for somebody like me who grew up wanting to do these things, it is wonderful to see it happening in Tobago. And to tell us a little bit about that and to give us an idea of how even some of your kids can get involved is Indoisi Paul of Above Average Fitness. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Nice to meet you.
All right, great. So you are Above Average Fitness Club. So tell me a little bit about the club that you have here and what's going on the stage.
Oh, well, the club began in July of 2022, and here we have a lot of talented kids from Tobago with parents willing to push their kids to that extra level because they would have seen the different strengths and skills in their children at home, and they want to develop it, and they heard about the club and they decided to join.
So is this the only gymnastics club in Tobago?
Well, for now, yes. Yes, this is the only gymnastics club in Tobago. We train on Saturdays. We have some competitive students that we'd like to have some extra training for them during the week. Our coaches come from Trinidad every Saturday. Every Saturday we bring 2 coaches from Trinidad, and we have classes from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. We break it up into 4 different groups. So the first group is the Tiny Tots. The second group is the recreational. The third group is the competitive and diamond competitive, and the fourth group is the older competitive. These groups are broken up based on age and based on the skill level. We have some children here who actually used to go to Trinidad to train every week, and so they are very happy to have, I wouldn't call it a home because we really don't have a home as yet. We here using Signal Comprehensive. Thank you very much, Signal Comprehensive. So we here on a Saturdays using their auditorium. What can I say? We're just hoping for the best, and we really want to push the children because this year we have some competitions coming up in Trinidad and we really need that extra time. But with everything reason, we have different constraints, prices, and we looking out for some sponsors. We're really hoping that somebody sees and want to push these children into that different level because, as you can see, we have plenty of skill.
Yes, and they're incredibly talented, and I mean it's so wonderful to see this happening here in Tobago because I mean I grew up at a time where you didn't even have access to things like this. So like you saw it on TV. I mean we saw like the amazing stuff that happened in the 1995 Olympics, and then all the girls around that time you wanted to get into gymnastics, but it was not available. So what inspired you to do this here?
So this idea came about with my daughter wanting to do gymnastics, and I made approximately 10 calls to Trinidad trying to find a coach, and surprisingly there were none. All the clubs were in Trinidad. We're talking about over 15 clubs in Trinidad.
Yes.
And so I said, you know what, why not start something? And I sent out a flyer who were interested, and a lot of people was interested. Actually on the first day we had 64 people.
Wow.
On the first day at Fairfield Complex we had 64 people. Well, the numbers would have dwindled away, after they see the seriousness about the sport. And well, for sure, those who are serious about moving forward, they did stay. And I want to say thank you. I want to use this platform especially to say thank you to the parents and to all the support I would have get. As simple as sharing the flyer on Facebook, Tobago Sports Live. You all shared it without even asking. I want to say thank you for that because it reached far. And if we could be able to, to reach out into the communities to help, that would be very good for us because we really need somewhere to call home. Most of these people here, people who live maybe in the area and on this side of the country, but we still have people from Castara and these places. So we really want to reach out to reach everybody because these children are talented.
I mean, we could so see that right now. How were you able to fit into that role as intermediary coach while the coaches only come up once a week from Trinidad? How are you able to, even just develop your skills to be able to teach them?
Well, I believe coaching comes naturally. I actually coach football, swimming and triathlon. So I just, watch on from what the coaches do. I don't try to do too much. I really don't try to do too much. So I stay in my bracket. Try to always remind them about the basic skills, always maintain it because you don't want to give away accuracy for speed, and work with them. But once someone is willing with a supportive parent behind them, they will reach far. And this technically is what we have. We have willing kids, and as the Tobagonians, we're naturally strong.
Yes.
And we have supportive parents, so we expect to reach very far.
What are some of the things that it takes to be a gymnast for a young girl looking on, and they're inspired by people like Simone Biles and Gabby Douglas and so on? What does it take to be this?
For me, getting into this, I would say willingness. You need to be willing, you need to be brave, and most importantly, you need to be flexible. Gymnastics, like it or not, is an expensive sport.
Yes, it is.
The equipment are expensive, the material are expensive, and to travel, because we don't have much competitions here, is expensive. So these children will have to be going to Trinidad to participate. They would have to get to train more than just on Saturdays. We would need more equipment. So we're going to need help.
Yes, and then we see you only have a few apparatus here. Just the beam, and you only have one of the bars. You don't really have that much of vaults and stuff. But I mean, for now, these kids are little, so they don't really need the major apparatus. I mean, how much of a cost to even get some of those things?
Well, I'll put it like this. What we do here in Trinidad and Tobago, we restrict skill with age, and it's something that we shouldn't do, because in like Jamaica, for instance, our Caribbean country, children begin training as small as the age of 6. So children at the age of 6 and 5 could do the things that we see our children here doing. These things are costly. This roll mat alone is like $7,500. A cheese is like $5,500. The beam in cross 7,000. The high beam, that is over 3,000. So things are really expensive, and to be paying the airfare that just raised to bring up these coaches every Saturday, then to pay the coaches, then to buy equipment, and to still don't put that extra cost on the parents, we really have to find the balance and work with them. So I really would appreciate if the teacher sees this and willing to come on board, because to be very honest, I always say this, and I would always tell the parents this is not for me. This is not far above average. This is for Tobago, because when the children leave Tobago, they go to Trinidad to represent Tobago.
Certainly.
They don't represent me. They represent themselves and Tobago.
Now, what can you tell us about, how some of the kids have developed? What have you seen over the past couple of years?
Well, this young lady who is doing this cartoon right now, she came here very shy, not smiling and not willing to do this. And here you can see she's doing it very well. Some of them could not have even do a normal flip. And you're seeing the difference now with them.
Oh, yes.
One thing I could say, it has built them more confident. Because to just run and flip with your hand, that is something within it by itself.
Oh, yes. All right, so you are supposed to be showing me something, because yes, viewers, we always got to do something. I always have to take part. Of course, get to see the producers. That's always making sure that I get involved. So Mr. Paul is going to show me a little something.
Yes. So let's go over here to the cheese. Children, 1 minute here, please. 1 minute. Yeah, you could go for some water. You could go for some water too. So we are going to show you a forward roll. Hands. I need you to tuck your chin in and go over. When you go over, try not to let the neck touch the mat, right?
Okay.
I need you to be brave, and I need you to be confident.
This is something I have not done since I was like, I don't know, 8.
Right. But I know you can do it. Here at Above Average, we always say the slogan is, nothing amazingly, magically happens. And I need the pose to the end, please.
Okay, of course. So, hands like this.
Hands like this, stoop.
Hands like this.
Stoop a bit.
All right.
Right, tucking the chin to the chest. And we're going over.
Whee!
Aha.
Alright, viewers, so yes, you saw what I just did there, which means that, hey, if I can do it, any of you all can do it as well. Now, how can people get in contact with you? Like if parents want to get their children involved?
So you can contact me on Facebook. My Facebook name is InduBC. I'm Harry Michael Hall. You can contact me on my cellular phone. The number is 499-7275. Mr. Hall, Coach Hall. Any hall would work. Above Average Fitness. I repeat the number again, 499-7275.
All right, viewers, so get connected. And that's how we're going to wrap this morning's segment for Out and About with Candice Jackson. It was a pleasure. And get yourself involved. If you're into gymnastics, be sure to connect with Mr. Paul. But now we're just going to go off to a break, and I'm going to leave you with just a little bit of the girls.
March Parfait Day Spa and Wellness Center, your premier spa experience located at Bonaccord, Tobago. Visit us today for facials, cellulite treatments, body contours, body treatments, pedicures, manicures, and much more. We have gift cards for all occasions and corporate events. Connect with us on Facebook at Le March Parfait Day Spa or call us 273-7772.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. We are chatting this morning with Miss Brittany McDonald, who is the Caribbean Regional Youth Council Communications and Information Training and Development Officer. Yes, and Mr. Jared Salvery, who is the Caribbean Regional Youth Council Board Member for Training and Development. And this morning, viewers, our focus is on the 7th Caribbean Youth Leaders Summit that's taking place right here in Tobago from today. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, it's good to have you both on the program. Now, this has got to be what we call a shotgun type of interview, because they are crunched for time, because as we mentioned, the Youth Leaders Summit begins today, right, actually this morning. Let's start with you this morning, Jared. Give us an idea. This is the first conference. This is the 7th, yes, but this is the first post-COVID.
Correct.
And what does this mean for you, well, having persons from all over the Caribbean be a part of this in Tobago?
Okay, so, you know, COVID-19 would have posed various challenges for a lot of us in the Caribbean and around the world. And a lot of youths, you know, during that time, our voices weren't really heard because, I mean, obviously we were locked down, right? So by having this first major event out of the COVID-19 pandemic where we can all gather, right? You know, everyone was, you know, basically looking forward to this, right? Just being in the same space where we can share and be in a position to, you know, shape the future of the youth in the Caribbean.
All right. So how many maybe you can ask Brittany here, in terms of the participation, how many Caribbean countries are involved in this year's summit?
So including Trinidad and Tobago being our lovely host, we have approximately 9 countries, ranging from Anguilla being represented all the way to Grenada. We also have St. Lucia being represented, Antigua and Barbuda, and we'll also have representatives from Dominica as well. So a lot of different representation, and including Turks and Caicos.
Okay. Now, Jared, you are from Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, I am.
But Brittany, tell us where you're from.
So I'm originally from Jamaica, and we'll also have Jamaicans there at the summit. And then I currently live in Antigua and Barbuda, so that's where I would be coming from and representing here at the summit.
All right. Now remind us here in terms of the objectives of this summit, and we want to get an idea of the theme as well.
Okay, so the theme of the summit is adding global value, taking charge of the future, right? So when you really consider the latter part, taking charge of the future, you know, it asks the question, what are we doing? What can we do as young people, right, to shape our future and to shape our future in the Caribbean as youths, right? How can we be included in various areas such as education, governance, right? So, you know, we'll be having various sub-teams as well at the summit, right, in those areas and other areas such as peace and stability, climate change, gender equality, and, you know, those are just some of the things that we'll be focusing on. I know, and the overall aim is really for us to, you know, be in a position to have discussions, to learn from each other, right, and as well as, you know, provide various solutions to the issues that youths are facing in not only in Trinidad and Tobago, but around the Caribbean.
All right, and let me mention here that Tobago's very own Janae Brathwaite is going to be representing us at this summit, acting in the position of Regional Junior Minister of Tourism. So we say kudos this morning to Janae Brathwaite and to all the members, all the persons who would be a part of this year's summit from all the different countries. You've been here how many days now, Jared?
Well, I arrived here last night.
Last night.
Was here since Monday.
Yes. Okay. So we would have had some delegates arrive on Monday the 9th of January, and had a steady stream up to yesterday of participants from the various countries, which I would have mentioned. And thankfully, through our partnerships with the Tobago House of Assembly, the Tobago Youth Council, the Trinidad Youth Council, as well as the Commonwealth Secretariat, to mention a few, we've been able to assist them with transportation by airfare or ferry, as well as accommodations in Tobago.
All right. Now, I'm not sure if you've had an opportunity to experience more of a taste of Tobago, but what do you think about Ireland so far?
Oh my goodness, it's so beautiful, and the people are so warm and friendly. It's my first time in Tobago, and I must say I have to come back. And as a part of this program, often at conferences, we focus on the business, the meat of the matter. But we wanted to provide the opportunity for the delegates as well as for members of the local community to join us in an immersive tour. And through the kind support of the Tobago House Assembly, through its Division of Tourism, we'll be having an immersive tour on Saturday, January 14th, where we'll get to tour the island. The group will split up and see, I believe, the north of the island as well as West Tobago Nylon Pool, the museum, and some other historical sites. We're looking forward to that.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that. Now, Jad, I don't even want to ask when last you were in Tobago.
I'm in Tobago frequently.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that. Happy to hear that. All right, so remind us of the time that this starts this morning.
Okay, so this morning it starts at 8 a.m. So as we speak, they are
now.
Yes, as we speak, they are already there, setting up and preparing for these sessions that will basically run whole day. One of the sessions that we'll be having today would be an opening and cultural night, opening reception and cultural night, put on by the THA. Right. So, you know, as Brittany would have said, we have the island tour on Saturday, but at the same time, you know, we wanted persons to have a cultural experience tonight as well at the opening reception.
All right, but we're not going to keep you guys any longer because I know you've got a busy day ahead. I don't believe you even slept last night. Welcome to these things here. You've got to cross all your T's and dot all your I's. So we're going to wrap things up here, folks, and we want to thank you so much for joining us this morning for the Tobago Updates morning show. Brittany and Jared, they're going to be going off to the summit, and we expect really great things. Of course, we love to hear from them at the end of things to see how, to get some feedback on the overall event. So Tobago, have a really great day, stay safe on the roads, and we will see you tomorrow. In fact, just before we go, we're going to head on over to GMT with your girl, Chanel Felix. So have a great day, Tobago. Bye-bye.
International Society of Family Law, or ISFL, is an independent association dedicated to the study, research, and discussion of family law and related disciplines. And fittingly, its annual conference was recently hosted on our beautiful shores of Tobago, a place that's all about family love. The conference brings together researchers, academics, jurists, social workers, policymakers, and other professionals across the world. They share research, experiences, and ideas on human rights that impact us all.
And this conference provides that opportunity for us all. It provides an opportunity for us to even look at how something we never thought possible in our lifetime, such as a global pandemic that forced us to stay at home, how that has impacted our families. In most territories, we have seen increase in domestic violence. We have seen a rise in conflict in the family. And maybe being forced to stay home made us recognize how much we perhaps didn't love each other. And with all those emotions, we have to find solutions. And we are counting on you in the legal fraternity to be a guiding light to all of us, especially to those within our society who from time to time take up the profession of being bush lawyers. And so we thank you for coming to Tobago and choosing Tobago as the space in which you can convene this conference.
In Trinidad and Tobago, there's been special emphasis placed on families, which are crucial in social development.
When it comes to family law in the Caribbean region, Trinidad and Tobago is one of the jurisdictions leading the charge. Over the years, many progressive pieces of legislation have been introduced with the aim of affording and upholding rights of family members. And institutions such as our trailblazing Family Court established in 2004, the Children's Authority in 2015, and our Children Court in 2018 were established with a view to championing a more holistic and humane approach to resolving family conflicts and treating with children in conflict with the law. These strides are well in keeping with your conference theme, safeguarding the human rights of family members from womb to the tomb, as they recognize the importance of ensuring that families and family members are at all stages of life sufficiently protected from exploitation, empowered to make the right decisions, and equipped with the tools they need to thrive.
Donna Cox, Minister in the Ministry of Social Development and Family Services, says government is committed to supporting families in Trinidad and Tobago. She says the theme for this conference is a timely one.
There is no doubt that the human rights challenges facing family today are more complex than 30 years ago. The challenges experienced by the family causes us to recognize that institutions cannot work in isolation, but must work together to ensure that family members are protected. The Ministry of Social Development and Family Services has the lead responsibility for supporting families in Trinidad and Tobago, and we agree that this theme places on center stage the need for comprehensive and inclusive systems of care and support for families on the one hand, and the importance of continued collaboration among stakeholders on the other to protect the rights of all family members.
The conference was held at the Magdalena Grand Beach and Resort. It ran from December 13th to the 16th, 2002. That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Socialize! Friday, 27th of January, Shore Park Complex.
Don't worry, lover. Don't worry, friend. Don't worry, partner. Socialize is yeah. Don't worry, lover. Don't worry, friend. Don't worry, partner. Tobago.
Socialize! Friday, 27th of January, Shore Park Complex.
It's so much man good day. Socialize.
Socialize!
Socialize! 27th of January. Look for.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show. To them once again, they better look out below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look out below. this is your show. More, live more.
Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Never ever worry, don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry if your nice car get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Welcome to Lamarche Parfait Day Spa and Wellness Center, your premier spa experience located at Bonaccord, Tobago. Visit us today for facials, cellulite treatments, body contours, body treatments, pedicures, manicures, and much more. We have gift cards for all occasions and corporate events. Connect with us on Facebook at Lamarche Parfait Day Spa or call us 273-7772.
Rest Assured helped me to cope with the unexpected, provides financial help for final expenses. Rest Assured, the affordable financial comfort plan. Tatil Life, guaranteed protection. Whole Life helps me secure their future, provides financial protection with added benefits. Whole Life, the affordable financial benefits plan. Tatil Life, guaranteed protection.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise.
Good morning, Tobago and the wider global viewing audience. I am your host for this morning, Chanel Felix, and you guys know, when you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to hear to get your morning started off right. And you know, whenever I'm here, I'm sure to ask the questions that the people want to know. Now, there are a number of things happening in the political space, in the social space here on the island of Tobago. We have Carnival coming up. We have an election of a new president that's happening pretty soon, and a number of other issues such as the COVID-19 pandemic that seems to be striking up again. All these conversations and more you'd be sure to have here this morning. But before we get into any of those conversations, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys your news in 90 seconds. And first up, the Tobago band leaders accuse the THA of underfunding their efforts to produce masks for Tobago's edition of the National Carnival. Chairman for the Tobago Carnival Band Leaders Association, Gemma Bedlow, complained that 1.3 million was not enough to assist 32 bands for the February Carnival activities. If the allocation is not increased, the band leaders threatened to boycott Carnival. Bedlow stated that they are struggling to recover from the COVID-19 pandemic while grappling with the increased cost of material to create masks. And additionally, criminal charges should be brought against those in high positions of authority and with responsibility who did nothing to save the lives of the 4 divers who perished in February 2022. According to attorney Prakash Ramadar, it was one of the recommendations he made while presenting his closing statements to the Commission of Inquiries into the incident at the Paria Fuel Trading Company that claimed the lives of 4 divers. Ramadar represented the families of the deceased divers and said too often in Trinidad and Tobago, companies and state agencies treat the life of humans callously and only as important as a number. He argued that it is time the systems are in place to put safeguards for workers and their families when accidents of this nature occur. And finally, Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley is expected to address the nation today, along with a contingent from the COVID-19 response team. And the most recent data showed an increase in the number of COVID-19 positive patients, as well as an increase in deaths. And the press conference is to be held this morning at 10:30 a.m. And that was your news in 90 seconds. And as I referred to earlier, with this new spike in COVID-19 virus, we look forward to hearing what the Prime Minister has to say about that at 10:30 a.m. Additionally, one of the conversations that we were supposed to have this morning was surrounding that Tobago Carnival for February. But unfortunately, we would have to postpone that conversation as my guest is unable to make it. But that conversation surrounded how Tobago is able to present themselves for Carnival in this upcoming February election is extremely important, and one that we are going to ensure that we have here on Good Morning Tobago. So guys, before we get into these conversations and other conversations, especially surrounding the appointment of a new president of Trinidad and Tobago, we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to see you after that. See you guys soon.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the sky.
safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. You can play your part safely and anonymously. Report a crime. Earn a reward. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime. Be a hero. Champion. Fearless citizen. Be a crime stopper safely and anonymously. Call 800-TIPS. Help stop crime.
Was a while before Christmas, and all through the land, people was putting away house with very little money in hand. They was painting and cleaning and doing their chores, but I went to hunt for deals at American stores. Deals on living and dining room sets, on fridges and stoves, beds and cabinets, on washers and dryers, small appliances cheap, even TVs and stereos, prices just can't be beat. So let's Christmas together at American stores. After all, what they tell me, anything could be yours.
Anything can be yours at American stores. Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Let's go, go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up.
Good morning again. Remember, I am your host, Chanel Felix, and it's always a good time and a good vibe when I'm sitting here at our favorite station, Tobago Updates, here in Tobago, to have those conversations to help you start your day off correctly. And guys, you know, it won't be right if I don't ask the questions that you guys want to know. Now, one of the stories that has been developing over the last couple days is the fact that political leader of the PDP, Watson Duke, is now calling for peace among former members of his executive. Now, as you guys would have known, later in 2022, all of the representatives of the party that are currently serving in the THA would have submitted their resignation from the party. And recently, while the party announced that there was indeed a new national executive, right after that, we saw one of their executive members resigning, and which would have triggered Mr. Duke to begin a tour where he is now asking for peace. So this is your opportunity where I'm going to ask you guys in the comments to put your answer to the question. So the question today is, do you think the call for peace from Mr. Watson Duke is a genuine one? Guys, remember to add your comments because we really want to get the answer to this question. Do you think that the call for peace from Watson Duke, political leader of the PDP, is a genuine one? Put your comments below. Now, Mr. Duke is claiming that this is a new year, new me. So are we going to see a change in the approach that Mr. Duke is using as he tries to increase his political appeal here on the island of Tobago and also in Trinidad, where he's now trying to spread his roots? Or is this just all show and tell? Let me know in the comments, guys. Let me know, right? This is a really interesting one. I'm really interested to see what the public has to say about this, and I hope that very soon I would have the opportunity to sit with Mr. Duke himself and ask him that question face to face, because you already know it won't be right if I don't ask the questions that you guys want to know. So I'm going to be looking at the comments to see what you're saying. But in other stories, guys, you know the story that has been developing, that has been in the headline for the last week or so. And that is the fact that we are about to elect a new president. And we have seen nominations put forward both by the current government, and we have seen nominations being put forward by the opposition. Now, this conversation surrounding the new appointment of a president has been one that many people have taken on, while others are ignoring it, which can simply be an indication of either a lack of interest or a lack of understanding of the importance of the election of a new president. And so to bring some clarity and some understanding as to why the current opposition at the central government level, the UNC particularly, is opposing the nomination of Christine Kangaloo that was put forward by the current administration, I have the opportunity this morning to sit with the former Minister for Housing and Urban Development, who is now a parliamentary representative for Oropouche East. We have Mr. Rudal Munilal this morning, and he is going to be on here really, helping us to understand at a base level why this conversation needs to be one that the people on the ground understand, the importance of the election of a president, and why the current nomination put forward by the current administration at the central government level, headed by Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, is one of contention. Good morning, Mr. Munilal. How are you doing?
Good morning, Chanel. Good morning to you and all those in your studio and your listeners and viewers across Trinidad and Tobago and the wider world, wherever the broadcast may be going. It's a great pleasure to be with you, and thank you for the invitation.
Of course. And Tobagonians are really interested to understand better at the grassroots level, at the base level, exactly why there is contention surrounding this appointment that has been put forward by the Prime Minister and the current administration at the central government.
Well, Chanel, let's say that notwithstanding that several institutions in our country, whether in Trinidad or in Tobago for that matter, are in need of reform and change. They are still important institutions, whether they are the parliament, the presidency, the THA. They are important institutions. And the president is an institution that is very important. And I'll put it to you this way. Many people in Trinidad, Tobago, anywhere, you feel that the president is just an office that is symbolic, and you dress up in business executive clothes, drive up and down the place in a big fleet of official vehicles with police outriders and security and so on. While that is so, it is the nature of the office. The office itself plays an important role in appointing people, in recruiting people, in managing the public service in Trinidad and Tobago. So it's a critical office, and I'll give a simple example. You have, for example, the Police Service Commission, the Public Service Commission, the Teaching Service Commission. You have the Election and Boundaries Commission, the Integrity Commission. All of those are important things. And the critical one, if you could add that, is something called the Judicial and Legal Service Commission that appoint judges. Judges are critical in any democratic system. In fact, in countries that have collapsed, where democracy has collapsed, there's always that relation to the undermining of the judiciary, the judicial system and process in countries that collapse. Always you will see the judiciary has fallen. And a president is really the last bastion as a guardian of independent institutions. Independent mean independent from the opposition and the government. This year, Dr. Rowley has made a U-turn, an about turn, in that 5 years ago, he had proposed Excellency Paula May Weeks, who came as a overtly non-political person, Court of Appeal judge, a former state prosecutor, and the opposition and the government had no difficulty in together, in a cohesion, supporting Excellency Paula May Weeks, notwithstanding, her tenure and so on. This time he has gone for someone who has been in the bowels of the governing party, the PNM, a member of parliament, a cabinet minister, a president of the Senate, which is a political appointment. Dr. Rowley has changed his approach, his policy is really an about turn. And that has led us to fuel speculation. It has fueled speculation and led us to analyze why this is so. But to answer your question, take an ordinary person, an average man or woman in Port of Spain, Scarborough, Arima, wherever. You're looking for a job. You're looking for a job in the civil service. You are in the civil service at a level you want to be promoted. You would like benefits. You would like anything like that. It happens through service commissions, and if these commissions are not independent from the PNM, the UNC, the PDP, and so on, if they are not independent, it affects the workings of these organizations and citizens. And the final analysis, the citizens are at a disadvantage and could be treated unfairly in a discriminatory manner and so on if those institutions are not themselves independent and possessed of the integrity to manage. And finally, the Election and Boundaries Commission, as you know, manages the affairs of all elections in Trinidad, Tobago. And if that is not handled in a sensitive and delicate manner with people of independence and non-partisanship, neutrality, and so on, you could have a situation where the very election process, which is the foundation pillar of a democracy, where that is undermined as well. And these
Dr.
are the
Manimal,
reasons why we
there
have a
is
Hawkeye on
also
the
the
presidency.
concern by many that although this office of the president is supposed to appear neutral, the concern is that Christine and her political involvement with the PNM. However, many might argue that everyone has their own political suasion, as neutral as they may appear to be. So how does one, use this truly to be the basis when, although they might choose someone else, that other person, although not publicly supportive of the current administration, the PNM, may have been someone who might be a silent supporter of the PNM. How do you respond
Well,
to that?
I would tell you, Chanel, since independence, the first, we have had governor generals here, which is really the predecessor to the presidency. And there has been a sort of settlement, let's put it that way, that yes, we know in a society like ours, almost everyone would have their own political flavor, would have their political views, may support one party as opposed to the next. As you know, Chanel, there are people who support one party today, the next party tomorrow, they return to the next party, the next day we also have that. But the issue really is that while we know persons harbor their own political views and so on, the settlement over the years has been to put persons who appear to be impartial, to be neutral, who at first sight you believe that whatever their political persuasion, there is some semblance, there's some element of independence to that person. And I think that has been the approach of governments before. The partnership government, as you recall, appointed Anthony Carmona, a former International Criminal Court Justice and High Court Justice in Trinidad and Tobago. So that there was this approach, a settlement, that we will have persons who are not overtly, who are not boldly in the political process and a party and so on. And that has been overturned today with the impending appointment of Christine Kangaloo. And that to me is a worrying concern, because let's think of it this way. It now opens the door for another political party in the future, and certainly in our lifetime, to appoint the chairman of a constituency of the party, or a diehard member, lifelong member of the party. It opens the door now for that, which I don't think is the intention of the drafters and framers of our constitution.
Munilal, in your press conference, you would have indicated that it is your belief that Christine Kangaloo is being placed there to basically do the government's bidding. Don't you think that's sort of undermining her ability to function effectively in the role on her own accord?
Well, let's say the proof is in the eating, as they say. Whether it's bake or pudding or cake or roti, the proof is in the eating. Ms. Kangaloo, as you know, is no stranger to high office. She acted as president on several occasions by virtue of being president of the Senate. Now, if I would have told you 5 years ago that a government would have used an acting president to fire a sitting governor of the central bank, you would have a chill would have run up your spine. You wouldn't think that you would use an acting president to fire the governor of a central bank. But this is what has happened in 2018 or thereabout. The government, and there's a high court judgment, as you're aware now, where the high court in this country ruled that the president, acting president, Ms. Kangaloo, acted illegally and unlawfully in terminating the appointment of the governor of the central bank, former governor, Mr. Dwala Rambaran. Now, if I had told you that in 2017, many people would not believe it, but it happened. So the proof is in the eating, and she has already demonstrated a vulnerability to the political elite, to the political players, to the political masters. And that is the worrying issue, in that, as you know, charges were dropped the other day, a few months ago, against former Attorney General Anand Ramlogan and Mr. Ramdeen. And at the heart of that is a request by the state witness, Mr. Vincent Nelson, for a presidential pardon, because he has been convicted and sentenced. And one wonders whether the placing of Ms. Kangaloo in that office is to facilitate the government escaping from what is really the biggest scandal in our post-independence history, where there's an illegal agreement to criminally prosecute political opponents. I mean, that is really things you read about in novels and in backward failed states and so on. And to get out of that requires a presidential pardon. And it leaves speculation, given her previous conduct, whether this is really her first course of business at the president's house.
Understood. You in that press conference, you would have also called on the public to reject this nomination. Tell us exactly what are you expecting the public to do in terms of rejecting this thing? What are you
Well,
expecting to get out of that?
Well, a fervent and active and healthy democracy requires public involvement, and the public, by virtue of speaking out in various fora, it could be social media, it could be any other media, it could be other actions. The public must speak with one voice and loud on their views on this matter. If it is that people believe, look, political parties, they have the right and they can appoint anybody they want in any position and it doesn't matter, well then so be it. The next political party, as I said, will be free to take the chairman of the party or the general secretary and make him or her president, because the president is now being set. But I think the society should speak out at different levels, issue their statements on this matter to ensure that the government, even though the deadline has passed and so on, that the government can take a pause and reflect on this matter, because this has long-term consequences for our democracy. And it is really a sad, for me, it's a sad day, because I'm seeing, as someone who has been in the parliament for over 2 decades and in government and opposition, I am seeing this as a sad development, because it is a precedent. And from here on, for the rest of our history as a nation, it is now left to political parties and leaders to really take anyone they want now from the political system and place them in the office of the president.
And Dr. Monilal, what we want to really know is, with the comparison being made to the appointment of A&R Robinson, do you see this as being relevant to the current appointment of today?
No, in fact, I dealt with that. I dealt with that at length. Mr. Robinson, and I've had the pleasure of knowing and working for a short time with Mr. Robinson. Mr. Robinson cannot be compared to Ms. Kangaloo. I mean, with great respect, Ms. Kangaloo has only 3 years of service in the lower house as a representative. 3 years. Mr. Robinson, when he became president, was a member. I mean, you can't even begin to speak about his accolades and awards. He was a global statesman. He had 40 years experience in parliament, head of the THA. He was the Minister of Finance at Independence. He was a member of the federal parliament. He had received awards around the world for his scholarly contribution to politics. He was, as you know, the architect of the International Criminal Court, now in The Hague in Holland. He has been acclaimed by the United Nations system. He had served as a prime minister of the country for 5 years. So I think, Ms. Kangaloo suffers by comparison with someone as a statesman and a political giant, so to speak, as A&R Robinson. And it's unfair, really, to make that comparison. I think it's unfair to Ms. Kangaloo to make that comparison, because Mr. Robinson was really in a different, era, and he had come through 40 years, I say, of public service at the highest level. He had vacated the offices of political leader by then, and so on. And it was also an act of unification that Mr. Robinson was appointed as president of the republic. So Ms. Kangaloo, I mean, with great respect, cannot be compared that way to Mr. Robinson.
And finally, the Prime Minister said that this nomination stands. They are not moving, they are not shifting, they won't be budging. However, you are still you are calling on the public to reject the nomination. Tell me, what are you expecting to come out of this rejection, seeing that the Prime Minister basically said there's no changing on our part?
Well, let me put it this way. The Prime Minister's approach to governance has been, you can't do me nothing. So though I'm not listening to you, you can't do nothing. You can't touch me. I can do anything I want. That is his approach. And I mean, he's an individual like that. There's no issue. But the Prime Minister also confessed on Monday last that in 1997, he had broken ranks with the PNM and Mr. Patrick Manning, the Prime Minister and his leader. He had broken ranks with Mr. Manning and his party. And he also voted for Mr. Robinson. He stated this. So we are calling on all the members of parliament in the PNM to follow their leader, to follow the example that he set in the first place. And on the election next week, Friday, we expect that several members of the PNM, whether they be Mr. Imbert, Mr. Alwari, Ms. Penny Beckles, Mr. Kennedy, whoever they be, we expect that they would also let their conscience be their guide and would cast a vote against Ms. Kangaloo in favor, of course, of the other candidate, Mr. Khan, who himself is an eminent senior counsel, an independent mind, someone who has been critical of all parties, all leaders, and has also supported several parties and leaders as he sees it. And that is the type of mind, that is the type of judgment, is the type of individual, I think, better able to defend our democracy.
And Dr. Munira, we just want to say thank you on behalf of Tobago Updates for taking the time out and seeing the importance of having this conversation with the Tobago audience and helping to bring a wider and a deeper understanding of the real situation or the controversy surrounding the appointment of a new president and a nomination that has been put forward. Now, before we go, I want you to, basically make your last plea to the public on why it is necessary not only to understand the importance of the office, but to understand your plight in opposition of the current nomination.
But first, I want to thank you all very much for inviting me. I look forward in the future to speaking to you and your station much more. I am very concerned with forging a very positive and integrative approach with the people of Tobago and the leaders in Tobago. I can tell you privately, I wish that Tobago would probably speak a bit more and maybe a bit louder on this particular matter. Unless I've missed it, I thought Tobago has been silent on the election of the president of Trinidad and Tobago. We're hoping that good sense will prevail, that persons across the political divide will see the importance of saving our democracy first, as opposed to our party interests first. And in that light, I think that we should mobilize in Trinidad and in Tobago public sentiment, but also the support of elected and representative leaders to ensure that this catastrophe is avoided. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you so much. Again, we here at Tobago Updates are really happy that you saw the need to have the conversation with the Tobago public. Guys, I am going to be back, okay, right after the break. See you soon.
Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning.
Down there, and we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there, down in Tobago.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your nice can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry, if your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry, if sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry, if times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry, what I'm saying is true. So just consider, Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawn.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago here on Tobago Updates. If you guys missed that first conversation, you know you have to go back and play that back, right? This morning I had the privilege of speaking with Dr. Rudal Munilal, and he was able to bring some clarity as to why the opposition is currently opposing the nomination of president by the Prime Minister for Christine Kangaloo. And as I said before, that's something you can go back, and I really do recommend that you go back and listen to. Now, earlier in the show, I would have posed a question to our viewing audience online and asked you guys to go in the comments. Now, if you are not looking at this on Facebook at the moment, I encourage you to go to Facebook and follow us at Tobago Updates and click on the live broadcast and add your comment, right? So before we even proceed, I'm going to read a number of the comments concerning my question before that I posed. And the question is, the call for peace by what political leader of the PDP, Watson Duke, do you think it's a genuine one? And some of the comments that we have here is someone says, Duke's call for peace seemed disingenuous. He prefaced it by putting down Farley while putting himself on a pedestal. Someone said, no. That was Denise Horsford. She said, no. We had someone else say, no, I do not think that Duke is... Okay, they said, no, I do not think Duke is true. Let Farley stay far from Duke. He can't be trusted. And that was from Joel Sorry. We had someone else saying, hell no. And yeah, so someone also related Watson Duke's comments or his call for peace to domestic violence and a man trying to get back a woman after violently abusing her. And so what we're seeing here on the comments, I mean, I can only assess based on what you guys have commented. And 100% of the comments here on Facebook are saying, no, you do not think that the call for peace by Mr. Duke is a genuine one, and we look forward to your continued comments on the matter because we really want to know what the people of Tobago are saying, and hopefully very soon we'll have the ability to speak with Mr. Duke and allow him to answer the question here on set for himself and offer the clarity that is needed. Now guys, I know if you have been paying attention to all that has been happening in Tobago recently, you would realize that there has become sort of a capital of activities here on the island. One place where everyone comes together and has a number of different activities, whether it be fetes, conferences, meetings, you name it. There has become a hub for these activities by means of the Shore Park Cultural Complex. And the reason why I'm saying now, even though this is not a new building, we have seen a spurt or a growth in the number of activities that has been happening there. Now we are calling it the hub where all the buzz is happening. Now this morning I have the opportunity to sit and chat with Mr. Kern Cowan, who is the facilities executive coordinator.
Yes.
Right, executive coordinator of the Shore Park Cultural Complex. And so he is in charge of managing the facility over there and overseeing all the activities that happen down at the Shore Park Cultural Complex. Now, as I would have said in my preamble, we are seeing more activities happening down at the Shore Park Cultural Complex than we have ever seen before. Every time you look on a flyer, you see the venue is the Shore Park Cultural Complex. Whether it's a summit happening with youth leaders from throughout the region, over the Carnival period, it was impossible to book a slot. Even a meeting room you couldn't get during that October Carnival, during the Christmas time. We see churches having a number of events there. So you have not limited the type of activity that is happening there. And so tell us what has contributed to that upsurge in activities happening at the Shore Park Cultural Complex.
No problem. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, listeners and viewers across the island and across the world. The Shore Park Complex is a dynamic environment and should not be understated in any way, form, or fashion. When I came into the position in September 2021, my true aim was really to explore the possibilities and push it to the facility to its limits and see what we can really and truly do and accomplish in this space. And I think we have done just that. You know, we created a more all-inclusive arrangement, a more turnkey operation. We did a lot of marketing within the Tobago space, within the local space, and try to have that buy-in, first of all, on the home front. You know, so working along with NGOs, government agencies, private organizations, promoters, and pulling them into the space and getting them to buy in, not just to what the auditorium, because a lot of people have the assumption that Shore Park is the auditorium. We literally have 6 additional meeting rooms that can hold a room can hold up to 350, right down to a small conference room that can hold up to 13 persons. So we have a lot of things happening in the space. And more so in terms of what we have done in 2022 was to experiment, feel out each space, each environment, and see what we can accomplish, how we can curtail, how we can make it. And I mean right down to the car park. You know,
we saw that during the Carnival.
Yeah. And we have done car shows. We have done conferences, as you have said, gospel events, fetes, parties, a lot of different things have been in this space, and we continue to build out. You know, and from what we have understood so far in terms of our count, just last year alone, we have done 128 events in this space.
Okay.
You know, that we have counted.
Right.
You know, and we continue to count. We have bookings already full for January, about almost 75% full for February.
Okay.
We have bookings all the way down into December 2023, and people are even booking for 2025.
And when you speak about the number of bookings you guys have last year, is that reflected in your profit statements from last year?
Well, we are actually building what we call our revenue earning capacity. And that is a major part of it. Building the bookings, building what our order offering is, and our key element is to ensure that we have value for money to the client. We are a government-based environment, but we still believe that we have the ability to turn over capital, turn over revenue, and still be able to contribute to what is within the space. So yes, it is our aim to do just that.
Okay.
And but you know, in order to increase your revenue, you also have to manage your expenses. So we are also in the midst of ensuring that we have solid contracts that can handle our maintenance, because a building of that size and magnitude requires consistent maintenance, especially as we use it as we are currently.
Excellent. And one of the things, when people think about having an event at the Shore Park Cultural Complex, I believe affordability is the first question that comes to mind. Tell us about the affordability of having events there. How affordable is it to the public?
It's affordable based on the fact that we work with our clients.
Okay.
We work within their budget, we work within their needs, and what they're looking for, we try to associate and match to that.
Okay.
You know, we are not hard and fast, we are not take it or leave it, but we are all inclusive. Our aim is to bring the people in and keep them. You know, so I always tell the clients, you know, we give you one chance to come in and visit. After that, you will take up residence here. You know, so we keep them in. And I think we have really and truly been able to kind of pin that in. You know, it has been a up and down scale as we continue to grow and to continue to build. And it is our aim to continue to kind of curtail and make sure we maintain that environment. while we have now been able to really solidify our local base, our next mission is to bring in international clientele. And we are hoping to really dive deep into 2023 on doing international marketing,
Right.
you know, being on the world travel market and all of these things that can really bring in international clients, because that now gives not just Shore Park exposure, but the island.
Right.
You know, because once you get that foreign exchange coming in, it affects the entire economy of Tobago.
Exactly, because there are a number of global and regional organizations, such as the IDB and a number of other, like the CBC, which is the Caribbean Broadcasting.
That's right.
They all have conferences on a yearly basis in different places. So are we as Tobagonians targeting these type of organizations that have retreats and their summits and their conferences at different places in the world to come to Tobago? We are looking at the major conferences and sending proposals to
That's
them
right.
and, you know, proposing that they come here.
Event tourism is a major aspect of what we can offer as an island. And I say that as an island because we have the hotels, we have the transport, we have the facility. The Shore Park Complex is the largest venue in the English-speaking Caribbean. But we need to say that loudly.
Wow.
We need to put a tag to that and really push that mark. You know, and we believe all of these conferences throughout the region, and even in the Latin America space, can be held here. We have that ability. Currently, right now, as we speak, we are hosting the 7th Summit of the Youth Leaders, and that is taking place between today until Sunday, and that has representations from all over the islands. And these are the things that we want to more gear ourselves into to have a more international impact, a more regional focus as we continue to build our alliances as an event space.
And what is important that you mentioned earlier for the public is that it is relatively accessible to members of the public and affordable, because you are able to work with their budget. Maybe if they can't afford the main auditorium or one of the meeting rooms, you might facilitate them in the car park to have their event be an outdoor event rather than an indoor event. That is really important for Tobagonians to understand, because for a long time, I believe that people just passed the complex and just looked at it in awe from outside. And within the last year, would have been the first time even for many people to go into the complex itself and have that internal experience.
We have had a lot of firsts in this 2022. We have a lot of first-time visitors who people, you know, I've never come inside. But, you know, that connotation of the white elephant, the tank on the hill, these kind of things, we understand what that means. It just means that there's a separation of identity that we're trying to bridge now between what is ours as Tobagonians and what we can use it for and how we can build with it. And that is primarily our aim, and how we have been able to accomplish what we have been able to accomplish thus far. Because we have been able to do more events in 1 year than we have had in the entire existence of Shore Park thus far.
Okay, and in addition to that, housed at the complex, you guys have TPAC. Tell us a little bit about how the Tobago Performing Academy how has that relationship been?
Well, the Tobago Performing Arts Company has been an instrumental entity in the Tobago cultural landscape. It's the first of its kind in this space that has really been able to bridge the cultural aspects of what can be expressed and allow the creatives to have their own space. And Shore Park is that space for that. You know, that's what the space was built for. And we are really aiming to ensure that we can capitalize on those things.
Excellent. And, you know, with a building of this magnitude, as we spoke about maintenance before and the type of input it takes to keep the building up and running, not only with staff, but just, you know, general maintenance. Talk about some challenges that you guys may have faced over the last year.
Well, we had some challenge. We had some short-term challenge. I like to put all the cards on the table. You know, there are design flaws that we are working through and trying to rectify. The underbelly of the facility does need its retrofitting, and we have been paying a lot of attention to that. But as my chief administrator says, don't just mind the building, create the experience. You know, so while we are sailing, we are building the ship. and the ship has been floating and keeping it sail.
And what is the experience that you guys are trying to offer when coming to the Shore Park?
A holistic experience. There is nothing that is impossible at Shore Park. There are only possibilities. Unless there's something that can break it in half, then we will do it. You know, and we want to accomplish that holistic feel, that clients can feel comforted, that when they walk in, they get all that the desire is and more. We give more and we charge less.
And what about the coastal erosion that's being faced on that side of the island up there at Shore Park? How is that affecting the building?
Well, coastal erosion is a major issue across the island.
Is that a cause for concern?
It's a cause of concern for all Tobagonians, to be very honest with you. It has not it hasn't caused major impact on us thus far, as yet, because we are standing strong as a facility. Even in the yard area, it's standing strong. There has been no land slippage in any way. But as I said before, there are design flaws that we are working through, retrofitting and dealing with as we see coming forward. But coastal erosion is a major issue that we have to pay attention to across the island. It is going to take some time and some input in terms of finances, but it's something that we have to be serious about.
All right, and can you tell me what are some misconceptions that you have heard about the complex that you want to clear up?
There's no eating in the auditorium. Why you can't eat in the auditorium?
Right.
There is no eating in the seating area.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
So in that seating area, you can't really, you don't want to eat in that area, you know.
Because it's carpeted.
Because of the type of seats that there are.
Okay.
No, but we could eat in movie tongue. Movie tongue is designed in a specific way to allow that. The complex, as with any other theater hall across the world, as a matter of fact, whether it be Napa, Sapa, Queen's Hall, all of them carry the same theater rules and regulations. It's governing, right? In the seating area, we don't allow eating. So what we have done, we have removed the seating area from the conversation when a client comes. What do you want to do with your event? All right, well, what we will do is reverse the configuration. So we create a seating area on what we call the production floor, where you can eat, drink, have a good time, and be safe. You know, so those are things that we are, you know, those are some of the misconceptions. Another misconception is the building don't work, the air conditioner not working. You know,
the last time I went in there, I mean, I was almost freezing to death. I must say, we can't leave that one out.
Right. You know, the AC is working, the HVAC chill water system is functional. We have had challenges. As a matter of fact, and as I said, I like to put the cards on the table. We had a very embarrassing situation a couple of months ago. The day before an event, we had a major eruption that completely brought down our system.
Wow.
But we have had contracts in place that have allowed us to, you know, bounce back as fast and stronger, even stronger than before. That has allowed us to be able to steady the ship, you know. But as I said, going forward, our aim is to strengthen our offering, maintain the building at its maximum functionality, and bring usage to these spaces.
Thank you so much. Before you go, I know that you have a vision for transformation for the complex, and you have been working on that. One of those things, not that you have told me, but I think I could see it from the outside, is inclusivity, because it has been a wide cross-section of individuals and events that are taking place there, leading to a greater, you know, feel of inclusiveness where the complex is concerned. Tell us a little bit more of your vision for the complex.
Well, strange enough, my vision for the complex is my love for the island of Tobago. So it's more of my vision for the island as an individual and my part to play in the whole experience that Tobago has to offer. You know, I believe that every single thing that is Tobagonian has a far-reaching impact. All we just need is that cohesion, that collaboration, and that strength in terms of vision. And once we can have a few people that are willing to go beyond the mark, we could change things in a greater way. So from a Shore Park perspective, Shore Park in its own element can bring so much revenue to just this island by giving the right kind of support long-term. It transforms the space, it transforms the island, it transforms the industry. And the industry is the tourism industry, the event industry, and you could see so many different things coming to life once we have that transformation. And that is really my vision. My vision is to lend to the transformation of the entire island.
And in order to accomplish this vision, tell me about, outside of the collaboration and the support that is needed, what else do you think you really need in order to get it to that place?
We need public buy-in consistently. We don't need buy-in sometimes. We need Tobagonians to have that, inclusive arrangement that allows the whole thing to grow. Come in and be a part, because even sometimes visitors just want to come into this space. We allow them because we have the art exhibition, we have the space, we are creating an environment also on the ground floor, on the first floor, that just people want to come and relax.
Oh, so it could be a tourist attraction
It's a
as well.
major
You
tourist
come off
attraction. That's
of
correct.
one of those cruise ships and you just come down, have a look.
Yeah, and more so just to the Tobagonians. We are creating what we call our green space on the western end. We are in the process of building that out. That is going to be a completely sustainable garden in terms of solar power, solar lights, green space, just for the Tobagonian or the people on the streets, tourists, whatever, to experience just a relaxing environment. What I want to say is that this is not a product of a stranger. This is every Tobagonian space. So let every Tobagonian know that they own this and it's a part of them. The investment has been made. It is there. It's not going anywhere. So let's buy into it. Let's feel it out, you know? So come in and do it. We have done baby showers right back to weddings, right back to anything. That's what the space is for.
Okay, and tell me, is there an arena somewhere in the world that you have looked at and kind of fashioned some of your ideas? Or
That Madison Square Garden experience has opened my mind to really and truly trying to absorb this. Madison Square Garden could have an ice skating competition today and a basketball match tomorrow, and I have really pushed my staff, and I thank my staff. They are really hardworking. I have pushed my staff to be able to do just that, transform overnight, and we have a small crew. That entire building is managed by 6 persons, and as understaffed as we are together in one vision to accomplish a goal that has never been done before, and we believe that it can be done. So that Madison Square Garden experience is what we're looking for, and we will continue to try to drive towards. And there are other arenas in the UK that we match to, and we want to be able to even do exchanges and go to these places.
Well, that was going to be my follow-up question. How important do you think it is for you, in coordinating and strategizing and managing, and to have your facilities operators and managers be able to go to other major arenas and see what is being done there, to come back and truly, have a new mindset to what is possible?
As I always tell people, you have to take the time to travel. If you want to have an international experience, you can't stay in Tobago. We have to have something that we want to reach to, and we have to look at these examples that are in the international space and match to those. But it takes us investing in traveling to these places, experiencing what they experience, having the information, the knowledge, and bringing it back home and building on it. And that is what 2023 is for the Shore Park Complex.
Right. And so I'm assuming that your administrator is seeing a number of proposals for some international visits for your team this year. And I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing the pictures and hearing about that experience. And I really hope that it does come to fruition, because it's so important for us to have a global perspective. And you spoke about the green space. Says to me that there is a very modern approach to, truly developing the space and moving forward. When we talk about young people and youth development and youth engagement, I am very proud to see that the Caribbean Regional Youth Leaders Summit is being held at the Shore Park Complex. And it says that we are encouraging that type of growth and the ability to use this space to forge a way forward for youth development. Mr. Cowan, it was a pleasure having you here this morning. Thank you for coming in and speaking with me about, your vision for the Shore Park Complex, what we have been doing there, some of the challenges that you have faced, your ability to overcome them, and some of the experiences that you have had outside of Trinidad and Tobago that has shaped your perspective on what is possible for us. You've even indicated that in order for us to prosper and move forward, that we need consistent buy-in from the Tobago public. And people need not be ashamed or afraid to approach and ask, hey, how can we get our event here? Or even, what is inside there? I've never been in there. Come in, walk in, talk to the security, you know, exercise protocol, and it is available to you as Tobagonians to see where your taxpayers' money has gone, and it continues to go. Again, thank you so much for being here. Audience, we thank you so much for staying tuned with us. Thank you for putting your comments in the comment section. Thank you for liking and sharing. And before we go, I want to make a public announcement that says the Public Health Service Division advises that all persons with appointments for food badges for today, that session was supposed to be held at the Shore Park Cultural Complex. However, it would be held at Fairfield Complex instead. So guys, if you had an appointment today for a food badge, instead of the Shore Park Complex, it is at Fairfield Complex instead of there at Bacalet. Guys, again, thank you so much. I am going to see you guys again next week, Tuesday, I believe. So we're going to be here having some of those conversations that you guys want to have to start your morning off correctly and asking the questions that you want to know. Again, Mr. Cohen, we thank you for coming in this morning and sitting in studio, and thank you for our live viewing audience in Tobago and outside of Tobago. Good morning to members of the diaspora. We are so grateful to have you joining us and adding your comments to the conversation. Guys, goodbye and have a great day.